The hit show Seinfeld.
Seinfeld? That is my idea of comedy.
Why is the show so successful?
I think it's handmade.
This is a slightly more sophisticated level of comedy, and it's not what television is used to.
In the 90s, Seinfeld was one of the most popular shows airing on television. With its witty humor, excellent writing, and masterful acting,
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do.
the show's ratings skyrocketed, and it became one of the most memorable and funny sitcoms of all time.
I think you may have something here.
But with its growing success and profit, Seinfeld did something that still influences television today. While the audience saw a show that entertained them every week, there was something going on behind the scenes that, in Jason Alexander's own words,
We damaged the economics of television.
let's rewind the clock. Seinfeld is doing really well, and it's time to discuss whether it's going to be renewed for more seasons or not. The cast had no problems with the show, but there was something that they needed to negotiate before agreeing to more television: money. But that wasn't because of greed, it was to secure the actors' future.
There had been actual research done. We knew that for the network alone, every episode of Seinfeld generated $14 million of profit, of sheer profit. We were going to be actors with careers that extended where we needed to play different roles. Continuing to put out the image of George, Elaine, and Kramer was actually detrimental to our long-run careers.
The actors were concerned about where their careers would go outside of Seinfeld, and they needed to make sure that after working in the most successful sitcom of all time, they would not have to worry about money ever again.
I want to leave the most successful half hour in the history of television knowing that I never have to work again. That is what I require, or you can't have my services. We said, here's the number, $1 million an episode.
And when you uttered that number, what did they say?
They did what they should have done, which is laughed at us. And I also knew that it was detrimental to television if they made the deal with us. And it is proven to be detrimental. It is outrageous upfront money. Outrageous. It is bad for television.
Jason Alexander knew that this was an outrageous demand, and he was worried about the impact that this would have on the future of television. But given the tremendous success of Seinfeld, it would have been foolish not to demand what they demanded. But $1 million was not a random number.
We tried to figure out what percentage of the success formula of the show were the three of us.
And then they came up with the $1 million an episode number. Even then, they left room for negotiation.
There was no way we were going to come back for anything less than the 6. The 6 was my bottom line, so I guess I'm guilty of that. I knew that at $600,000 an episode, we would gross a certain amount, I would net a certain amount, and that would pay for the rest of my life.
Making this deal secured the actors' future, but even then, Jason Alexander knew that this deal would set a precedent that would have negative consequences on the television industry.
I never had any problem if they didn't want to make a deal with us. I thought that was a perfectly legitimate
You just said they
response.
shouldn't have done it.
Right.
Here's what he thought of the deal that they made with NBC.
I thought they were foolish to make the deal. I thought they were foolish in the way they handled us. It is outrageous upfront money. Outrageous. It is bad for television. $13 million an episode for ER. $1 million each to Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt for a show that's number 25 to 30 in the ratings. These are bad prices.
The cast of Seinfeld asked for a higher amount after the show's success, but others saw the deal that was made and wanted a higher payday even though their show was nowhere near the level of something like Seinfeld.
You ask for that kind of money when you are producing the kind of profit revenue that we are producing. But we couldn't ask for it on that side. They wouldn't give it to us. So we had to take it out up front.
The cast of Seinfeld had no choice but to take an upfront amount, but in doing so, as Jason Alexander said,
And I personally feel that we damaged the economics of television.
the cast of Seinfeld was not focused on a huge payday. They wanted fair compensation for their work. They negotiated after calculating what they actually deserved. They did what they had to do, but others looked at this and went straight for a higher upfront pay, even though their shows were nowhere near as good as Seinfeld. And that is how one of the most successful shows in television history paved the way for mediocre shows to also get higher paydays, thus damaging the economics of television, perhaps forever.